I'd like to address my opponent's initial claim in their rebuttal. They said that minimum wage jobs are just a gateway into higher earning jobs. This is true for some people and connects back to some of my initial points. Usually people who are working minimum wage jobs are doing so to either make ends meet or are saving up for something, typically college. It's safe to say that most people who are working these low wage jobs don't intend, or at least don't want, to stay working at said job. They are more likely to have aspirations for a higher wage to improve their quality of life. According to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, about 55% of minimum wage workers are above the ages of 24. This statistic usually surprises a lot of people because they think the bulk of the minimum wage workforce are young people in their early 20s or late teens. While the percentage does go down the older people get, is it really safe to say that minimum wage jobs are a gateway job? To me, it'd be better to say they are placeholders. It's just a way to accumulate a less than decent amount of money so that they can keep affording basic necessities and saving for future aspirations. My point that I initially was trying to make is that higher wages would encourage workers to pursue higher education, as it wouldn't seem like such a daunting task. Of course, there will always be people who can't get into college without a problem regardless of wage, but that number is usually small and reserved for people who come from wealthy backgrounds. There will also be people who don't go to college regardless of wage. Whether it be personal goals, self-confidence, or some other reason, college just isn't for some people. Not to sound like a broken record, but higher minimum wage would encourage a lot of people to pursue higher education, which would sound like a more realistic goal with these higher wages. Your other point was the fact innovation does not rely on wages. This would be true, and they do not correlate directly. There will be innovation regardless of any factors, but there are certain attributes that can accelerate it. For example, we saw a huge boom in innovation during the scientific revolution, where masses stopped looking towards religion for answers and looked at real-world natural processes. Similarly, we see large amounts of innovation with people who are college educated. However, just because you go to college doesn't mean you'll invent something new, and just because you didn't go to college doesn't mean you won't invent something new. 45% of minimum wage workers are ages 16 to 24. These are the most concentrated age groups that go to college. If we were to raise the minimum wage, we could encourage an even larger portion of these age groups to pursue higher education. In the past 3 years, we have seen a 10% drop in first-time enrollment, according to the Brookings Institute. This is mainly because college has become increasingly unaffordable. While I'm not saying minimum wage increases are going to make college achievable without any student loans, I'm saying that higher wages would heavily reduce the burden that student debt has on people, therefore increasing enrollment rates. Again, increasing wages would act as a sort of butterfly effect towards enrollment rates, but that isn't the only reason why minimum wages should be increased. For starters, it would be a massive quality of life improvement for a number of people. Secondly, to fund these wages, we could see tax increases in large companies. This would keep them in check, stopping companies from becoming monopolies. We could also use these extra taxes to fund small businesses. These small companies have a better chance of surviving, and the large companies can still exist and generate massive amounts of wealth, just not as massive as before. Overall, increases in minimum wage has a lot more pros than it does cons.